y'all ever realize that the bottom of your feet is sticky? The bottom of my feet have so much suction force that they're pulling up the linoleum tiles in my apartment. I don't know if that's more a condemnation of my physiology or the shitty glue that like this, just a nice. But I can't be a gecko, Mr. Nate. I'm a cat. Initial C-A-T. To do this dang thing. Yeah, yes. Wait, what was the cat in that Rain World game called? Lizard cat. I think I need to turn the fan on. I got too hot in the shower. One second. It may be a slug cat. That sounds right as well. All right, how can I maneuver to my mouse here? Holy moly, this is a mess today. Which one is paint? I can't read the resolution. I think that's it. It looks like it. Cause all blobby. Yeah. It did have legs, didn't it? I'm pretty sure he had legs, but like little stubby legs. Also, if you haven't played Rain World, big recommend picking it up. It's really frustrating and difficult. It's a nice little hard platformer game. Yes, words are hard as well. Okay, let me swap headsets. It sounds like I hear music. I hear voice. How's the music to voice ratio here? I think it's about right. Pop this. Well, howdy folks, and welcome back to another live stream right here on Country Fried Meanies. I'm your host Cameron, the country boy in the big city, presenting once more the Bullshit Corner 2.0, unusually for a TTRPG Tuesday, which is now Tabletop Tuesday, because we finished gathering all the assets, or listing out all the assets for Keep on the Borderland, and now we need those assets to make the whole thing happen. So, for that, tonight, we need to start painting. And I was doing some inventory of all the parts that we have for it. And if I paint a set completely to finishing every other week, it's going to take us like 36, it was 32 or 36 weeks to get everything done. Phone type doing phone thing once more. Yeah, that sounds about right. So we're going to dig in and we're going to paint tonight. We're going to focus on doing some slap choppy stuff. I'm going to go till these are mostly done. There's been some never mind. Anyhow, hope you're all doing well out there. We got to get this stuff done so we can get into playing this game on our TTRPG Tuesday. So we're going to be painting for a while. And I was just chatting with some folks in the voice chat on the Country Fried Minis Discord earlier, kind of talking about how regardless if we can get a crew together to actually play and enjoy the game at the end, what we will do is we'll build these assets and we will chat about getting this together, and then it'll be a module that anyone can download and use in their own time on the Steam Workshop. Unfortunately, I know a lot of talk about viewership has been basically constant here on the Country Fried Minis community, but viewership is down, and it's pretty dead. So going forward, I think the plan is to we're going to focus on getting these things done. If you catch this via the algorithm after the fact, if it's something you enjoy, I am more than glad for it. But I don't think we're so worried about likes, dislikes, watches anymore, because chasing that is driving me absolutely insane. So we're going to get these things done, and we're going to have them for posterity, whether or not we get the game together in the long run. We'll at least paint all the models and have everything put together, and then go through a couple episodes about building the module. And then, regardless of where it ends, we'll have this asset for everybody. Anyhow, let's kind of talk about these models a little bit. So tonight we are diving into... I actually need to get this camera up so I can see what the hell I'm doing. 1 second. Let's pop open our Logitune, and right-clicking on that appears to have locked up my computer. So we're going to wait on it to respond now. Cool. Thanks, computer. I did boot this thing up an hour before stream and did all the updates and stuff, but I guess we're just hard locked up now. Honestly, it looks like the update maybe broke Logitune. Nope. Okay, we're in, and I've clicked an OK. We were hung up on a screen that said Logitune updated, and it wouldn't let me do any functionality. All right. The problem is, okay, so the resolution on my monitor is basically, I can't read it unless I get like fucking 3 inches from it. That is incorrect. Where is open preview projector? I can't see for the glare. Okay. All right. Is this gonna focus on the thing? No, is the answer. Where is the focus? I cannot tell. Let's move some of this shit out of the way so I can actually reach this fucking mouse. Okay. Logitune. Hovercam Solo 8. Why? Please let me control the focus. All right, so we have these models from Colossal Minis. We went with the first option. It's still do the thing. I don't know what that's in reference to, Nate. I was not attending the chat. So we got these models here. They are really interesting. They kind of look like people more than lizards. And I thought that was really fun. And they all have like loincloths and kind of a lizardy head. The lizardy head is very reminiscent of like an Aztec style. Was it Toltec? Sculpture. We have something going on here that needs to be removed. I think my fucking hobby knife's over in the other corner. I was working earlier with the hobby knife at the computer. What up kinda lingers? Is that like when the taste continues far beyond the activity? Okay, there we go. So we got these weird models. They have people bodies with lizard heads, and they got kind of monstrous hands with fingernails that are long and sharp, and then they got these tails. I just think they're super fun and will make for a really interesting inclusion in the module, even though they're not super detailed, but that's fine because these are just jobbers for the first encounter that the players would come across. And tonight I have decided I was going to prime these beforehand, and I have left the primer over there as well, so I'm going to go grab that. My toes have a uniquely great propensity for catching the legs of this fucking light as I walk by. All right, what the fuck was I saying? Okay, I was gonna prime these before stream, but I figured the priming is actually important to the whole slap chop methodology. So it probably needs to be included as part of the agenda today. So once again, we are priming on a stream, and for that, I'd say I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. That's what we're doing tonight. We're gonna prime. We're gonna zenithal. We're gonna bust out these new brushes. If you watched it, if you enjoyed it, if you participate, let me know. I don't actually care. Tell you the truth, this channel is so fucking dead that we're doing the content for the content's sake at this point. God, I'm still hot from the shower. Overheated really bad. Anyhow, so I have also left my fucking respirator somewhere. God damn it, let's get up again. We're gonna pause this. We're gonna pause this screen. I'm gonna go get ready, actually be ready. How do I minimize this? How do I BRB? There, we're gonna BRB screen. Where the fuck is that goddamn respirator? Where is that fucking respirator? Where the fuck is it at? Why would it not be connected to this? Where the fuck is my respirator? There it is. Jesus Christ. 15 minutes in and we have done nothing yet. Let's get to it. There we fucking go. You know, you'd think an hour beforehand would be enough to actually get this shit done. But obviously not. So we're going to dig in with some priming, and there's enough models that we can go round and round them, I think. Let's see, levels look okay? Sick. There's enough models that I think we will do them in a couple passes, and it'll get them all done. And we shouldn't waste too much time on drying. So let's do like, can we do 6 at a time? There's 6 and 5, 11 models. Yeah, let's do that. We're going to start with a little Steinores today. Steinores Black. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, sir. We're starting with some priming. Just gonna, we're gonna focus on some light passes of this color. The idea is if we go too heavy, they're gonna take a while to dry. So we want to kind of minimize any time wasted on drying tonight. This is already clogged. This is already clogged. You son of a bitch. Son of a bitch and ass primer. The problem is the primer itself. So I have found that Steinores primer, we've talked about this, it separates out, and the paint, the primer paint itself congeals into these little globs, which are enough to clog an airbrush. It is actually shit garbage, and I do not recommend Steinores primers anymore. I have had a consistently bad experience with them. So if any of y'all have recommendations for good airbrush primer, I am all ears. Yeah, this stuff separates out and then becomes basically unusable. How about another ad? I've had 2 ad breaks in 18 minutes. Forgot what I got for primer. Are you shooting it out of an airbrush? Because that is the requirement here. Brush on leaves paint strokes, and I can't rattle can because I live downtown. I can't remember if you ever got the airbrush up and going. Alright. Is airbrush shake count? No. No, because it has to be an airbrush so I can spray it indoors. Welcome, Harlan. Hope you're doing well. We're probably going to be doing a lot of painting for TTRPG or for Tabletop Tuesdays for a while, at least until we get these things painted. I tried Createx primer, it's also chunky clogged. Picked up some Vallejo primer that shoots smooth. That seems to be where it's at. This stuff is amazing, as long as you never let it separate. The moment it separates and packs into, let's see if this shows it. Yeah. So the moment you get this like separation where you have the pigment and the milkiness, it never fully recovers. It's basically unusable. I used Vallejo for a while. What if it's spray? I can't rattle can. I live downtown. If I went outside with a rattle can, without having the advantage of the protection of homelessness, the police would arrest and beat me mercilessly. SFPD gives a pass to the homeless there. So maybe the hack here is to become homeless and then I can prime my mineral. I think that's it, right? Army Painter was ass filled with ass for ass-tastic ass. Oh, that sucks. It's thick as a can? Yeah, well, you know,
not all of us are imbued with a modest 12, sir. In fact, from what I understand, it's actually quite rare. So I don't think I can recommend to my audience that to use their sprayer to spray their. Anyhow, this is now that that clog is resolved and all this shit talking has happened, things do seem to be going smoothly. Let's see if fate punishes me for daring to say it's going smooth. Anyhow, on the technique here, we're starting air down and we're doing a short squirt, and we're rolling back to airflow stop before we let off. We're doing light passes, very light dusting. The idea behind the light dusting, I know I've said it before, is to make sure that these guys don't get too wet. I think in normal painting, if you were spreading your process out during the day, it'd be okay. Just flood them and let the surface leveler do its thing. But if you're painting on a time crunch, you're going to want very light hits. I also got a larger needle, 06 or something. I think I'm shooting out of an 04 right now. Nate says, it's cannon. Oh, gross. The hummus cannon is real, y'all. And I think that's just Harlan. Army painter's still clogged. The other two bleed just fine. Vallejo and Steinel, but I haven't sprayed any yet. I should have showed you guys what this can looked like. It had the separation down at the bottom with the milky fluid sticking up the length of the can. And I shook the ever-living fuck out of it. It just still has little pieces of particulate that are just exactly the right size to build up in this 0.4 millimeter needle. Yeah, I think we just got another clog there. And I always find that you can, if you just work the needle a bunch, they do seem to eventually shoot out. That's actually a gigantic booger there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's what this paint has done, unfortunately. And I can't really condemn the product as a whole, I guess, but this is twice now my experience has yielded these results in ordering the paint from an online retailer. So, is it Vallejo, or is it Steinelrez, or is it the fact that it sat in a fucking Amazon warehouse for 6 million years? Alright, that's way too much paint. So, and as you can see, these are glistening now, so these are going to take a moment to dry. I'm going to pause on these here and let these sit while I work the other set. Your word looked like flour? What? Your words look like flour? Those aren't words. Are you trying to drop like a Manchurian Candidate style activation code? I think those have to be spoken. They don't work in chat. Prologue. Alright. So, we're just going to keep going round and round and round and round. Front, back, sides, all over. We want a nice solid black coat on these boys. And this is going to serve as our deep shadow tone. So we do want good coverage this time. In the end, when we're done, there's still going to be black showing with the slap chop method. Or grisaille, I say. So we do want nice solid black coating. Though we will have dry brush the fuck out of them too. Primer's one of those things where it should be expected to sit for long periods. If you can only use it for 72 hours after you open it, that's bad, in my opinion. Yeah, and you know, Slink, I'm wondering if this is a issue that I wouldn't be experiencing with a bigger needle size. I could always experiment with that, though. Switching needles for different applications sounds like a little more work than I want to put into my process. like I know you can get good results with the different nozzle sizes on the airbrush, but I use my airbrush for like nice smooth gradients and priming, and that's about it. So the idea of switching, like popping back on a smaller needle to do my blends after a primer, that sounds inconvenient. So ideally, if I can find a primer that shoots through the .04, no problem, then, or .4, then that's the path I'm gonna take here. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. What's the difference in nuh-uh and nuh-uh? I think there's probably some subtle difference there. I guess it's a single letter. Oh, another clog. Let's see. We're checking these shield boys now to make sure we get black underneath the shields. I think we've only got the 2 shield guys. We've got a good mix of male and female lizards here. So a little bit of variety in them. Honestly, as shitty an idea for expense as this, if you're going to be constantly switching needles, I'd be more inclined to have 2 airbrushes and just swap them out, one for .3, one for .6. You know, I don't think that's a bad idea, honestly. And if you could have one of those cheap airbrushes connected to the like battery powered tank, I think that might be the way. I have found that the like $30 Amazon special airbrushes work perfectly fine for a really simple application. Terrifying. Liz nips are blue. I could maybe do that. I can maybe make that happen. Though they are going to be flat chop method. So I want to save as much effort as possible on these. Ideally, what we're going for here tonight, I should clarify. Tabletop Tuesday is a 3-hour stream usually. I want to have these models start to finish done in 3 hours. I don't want to spend a ton of time on them. I need to get them out, get them done, and move on to the next one for 2 weeks' time. I think our next our next bit of monsters is there's some giant spiders and some human bandits. We may skip the spiders. I may just do those in my own time, and then we'll dive into the bandits next time. But there's so many models. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, if I do a set every other week, we're looking at 32 or 36 weeks to get them all done. There's a lot of assets needed for this module, and that doesn't even include like NPCs in the town or anything for players to use, which I hate to say it, given my experience with miniatures-based D&D groups, it usually goes a little better if I just paint the models and then supply a selection for the players to choose from when they get to session 0. Especially with this photogrammetry, like I'm set up for it and quite used to the process. Also, on that subject, if any of y'all out there who catch these things want to get involved, do not hesitate to let me know, whether through comments, email, the CFM Discord, whatever method. Let me know. We could get you involved and playing some D&D right here on screen. Are we paint out characters or no? You're welcome to, if you're gonna play. And at this rate, we're probably looking at this fall, realistically. I know I could launch the adventure like before all the monsters are painted, as long as we have enough there for the characters to make their decisions as to where to go. I don't really know though. Don't really know. Let's do one more pass on these guys. And then toss these in the mix too. And we should be able to get set up and start dry brushing. Where is my dirty water? I have a dirty water cup here. Alright, so clean out the airbrush. We're gonna take our spray out thingamabob here. We're gonna flood the cup. Just really wash it out. And we're gonna shoot it into our spray out pot here. Water first, of course. Sorry, my tech shit day. I can half interpret what you're saying. Alright, so we'll do that. We'll shoot a little bit of acetone through it. Now, this airbrush does not have O-rings, so again, if your airbrush has internal O-rings, don't use this. Use a safer cleaner. We'll shoot the acetone, we'll shoot water one more time. And we're gonna empty our compressor. Boom. Where are we at? 30 minutes in, we got prime models. I think that might be a first for Country Fried Minis. So let's get our minis. Oh.
Smells like primer in here. Okay, so yeah, sorry about the rambling mania, but we're gonna take that manic energy and we're gonna dive it into working on these fuckers. Okay, so from here, I do want to work in some gray. And I really don't know if we're going to go primer or just gray paint. I think we can go to paint from here. I thought I had... well, maybe I don't actually have any gray primer left. So let's start with maybe this dark gray. I don't think that's quite dark, bright enough. Let's find a few grays here. Black gray. This is black. Refractive green. Oh, honestly, we could maybe just start with some gray, green tones, and do these with dry brushing instead of the slap chop method. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just save a step. Get a few greens here. And we'll make it work. We'll end with like some middle stone, perhaps. Get some olive green. We get some Luftwaffe camo green. What is this one? Intermediate green. Yeah, let's just dry brush these boys. So we're gonna dry brush anyways, right? So let's fucking do it. Alright, so I think we're going to start with a nice dark green. Maybe this here, Luftwaffe camo green. Nice kind of desaturated dark green. We also have this German camo extra dark green, but I think this is a double-edged sword because it's super dark, but the pigment strength is really like kind of neon. So I don't think we're going to use that. We may go in through... We can take our Luftwaffe camo green in through intermediate green into... maybe not intermediate green. Maybe into... Yeah, I like the blue color. We'll go from this desaturated green into a bluish green into our middle stone highlights and just dry brush them up. Make them look real nice. Leo German Gray is great. I have some somewhere. My German Gray is doing this weird thing where the it's like the pigments are separated out. The more you work it, the darker it gets. It's like some kind of particulate is not doing what's expected of it. But anyhow, we're gonna skip the gray step, I think, and we're gonna work in use some makeup brushes. I just picked this set up on Amazon for like $2 or $3. Nice big soft puffy brush. We're gonna get stuck in with a little bit of Luftwaffe green, Luftwaffe camo green, and that is in bad need of being mixed. It's a nice color though. I think it's gonna be a succulent foundation. Let's dig in and get out Oni Lab. I use German Gray for the stripes in my blue stripe camo, so German Gray lines, and I put the blue speed paint over everything. I think that was the original intention. We're gonna do like a green speed paint over top. So I kind of think if we can skip the speed paint, then that's a whole bunch of drying time that I'm not gonna have to waste today. Let's get our paint here nice and mixed up, good and ready. And start dry brushing. Yeah, I don't think I've done an all dry brush paint job here, not that I can recall. So close. 95. What's the payout? The payout's like plus 75 or higher, right? So we're gonna load our brush, we're gonna unload our brush, and it's pretty heavily saturated, and I think we're okay with that. We go in with this like kind of overbrush, and we're just gonna get these a baseline green. Baseline green everywhere. This is like this is more like a base coat than anything. If the shadows are a little dark, who cares at this point? I mean, really, these guys are seriously going to be jobbers that are meant to be put on the board and taken off the board, you know? So we're gonna get this foundational green. Anything that the big fat brush doesn't catch here will be our shadows, and then we'll switch to the smaller makeup brush when we start getting stuck in with developing the color and putting highlights in there. For now, we want green. We want an overall greenishness to these lads. Pow. Alright, looks like we'll get about 3 per load of the brush. I want to say you might have done a mainly dry brush paint job before, can't remember. The Crater Cobras had a fair amount of dry brushing on them. Maybe a really old video, maybe the the Atomo Mechs might have had. Pretty sure they were mostly dry brush. But it's usually not my direction with the paint jobs. If I'm doing it for a video, I like to go a little more try hard. If it's for the eBay store, it's generally speed paints. Speed paint plus edge highlight plus chipping and enamel wash. We'll do a video about that at some point here soon. I really want to encourage folks to try the techniques out to either get more models on the table or maybe to boost their income a little bit. I think that it does appear that the painted mech the painted mech market is pretty thriving. I think people tend to... There are folks out there who don't paint, who want mechs for their collection. And if you have access to some really cheap models or are willing to like cut into your profit margins, you can do some very serviceable paint jobs for minimal effort and help those people out. Help folks to fill out their op4s, help folks to fill out their collections. I know there's a ton of enthusiasts who just don't have time to get the models out. And you know, I bet that even applies to stuff like this. The if you need D&D models for a collection, I am sure there are folks who would love to buy some, you know, moderate effort, serviceable minis. So consider printing out some lizardmen of your own and put them up on eBay. You know, we'll probably even post these to the eBay store once they're done for a very reasonable price, something kind of low. Like, let's say you did speed paint some sets in a set in 3 hours, right? Would it be unreasonable to then sell them for $60 and hook someone up? That's kind of my thinking with these paint jobs. About 20 an hour compensation minus the cost of the minis. I'm okay with that. I might do something like that once I get my resin printer set back up. Yeah, I think it's really worthwhile. As long as you don't, there is a slippery slope about undercutting folks in the market, of course, that it drives things down. I've seen a few sellers with mechs at least that have like embarrassingly low prices for their painted models. And the ones that I saw doing that didn't really seem like they were doing it to like clear out a collection. More so it looked like they were, you know, model mill. So I think the sweet spot's about $20 an hour compensation for your time. Maybe a little less, down to like 15 if you really want to push it and competitively price, but I think you want at least like a minimum wage-ish type price for your time. And of course, we're talking basic paint jobs at that price. We're not talking display quality stuff. Just to enjoy the process of painting, but not have a huge storage of stuff I'm not using. Yeah. Plus, you know, with the photogrammetry, you could absolutely blast out a bunch of models, convert them to digital assets, sell the original on eBay, and then have your cake and eat it too, kind of. You can still play your scenarios in tabletop sim with your hand-painted mechs, and also make a little bit of compensation for your time. Plus, you'll have made someone's day. There are definitely collectors out there who need like 60 Karita mechs for their campaign or whatever, you know? Why not blast out some red mechs? In fact, I think I'm going to be painting some red mechs soon. Probably not tomorrow, but very soon. Maybe this week. I could prep them for tomorrow. I got to get them on the build plate though. I don't know how entertaining it would be though. They're mostly speed paint. Popcat says pop, pop, pop. I do love Popcat. Okay, so we've got a foundational overbrush of green on these lads. They kind of remind me of the plastic color of the Oh, those, I can't remember what they were called. The like Cyclopean lizard man beast from the Hero Quest box set. Let me know in the comments down below if you know what I'm talking about. They took them out eventually, but they were really interesting. Fimir? F-I-M-I-R? Femir? I don't remember what they're... Don't know how you'd pronounce it, honestly. Okay. So, we're gonna de-waterify our brush here. Let's go down to a smaller brush from here. Dive into our $3 makeup brush special from Amazon. And I think we'll go to this, maybe a combination of this puffy one right here, a smaller puffy guy, and this one right here with the like kind of rounded tip. Tabletop ready would be my goal. Yeah, that's... So I like to do, I don't think it's quite Tabletop Plus. It's, Tabletop, but then you do all the chipping and freehand details, and like the lens jeweling really sells it. I think people tend to see value in really nicely jeweled cockpits and lasers. Okay, so from here, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit of a variety between this uniform green and our intermediate green, just so they're not like all completely exactly the same. So let's go ahead and segregate these out. We do have like some smaller ones that might work well for the kind of lighter color. I think that's maybe what we'll do here. All these bigger ones will be like the darker color, the more desaturated, and the little guys will be this intermediate green. Yeah, let's give that a go. See how it looks. All right, so we're gonna dig in with 70.992 uniform green. Make sure it gets a good shake. Boom. Big old wad of uniform green. I actually think this may be better suited on the little guys. Yeah, we're gonna swap what we're doing here. Little guys are gonna get the uniform green instead. All right, so load up the brush, unload the brush. We're using a texture palette, of course, so our paint job doesn't get too chalky. And we're just going to come in and we're going to make sure this is more unloaded than last time. And we're going to swipe downwards. Boom, 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 boom. Now this is not our final tone, so we can be pretty heavy with it. Really work it in there. Get that tone on there. Trying to keep the top to bottom motion as best we can. We may have to go back in and touch a little bit of this up with some brushes, but maybe not. Just want a nice green look. And I think at the end what we'll do is we'll unify these coats with a green wash of some sort. Just really have them looking green. Can we see that? How do I do a preview projector? New window. Boom. Is that It's not really focused at all, is it? It's hard to get it dialed in because we are talking about dry brush models here, you know. So what's it even got to focus on? But yeah, where is the focus? It's more like down here-ish. I think it's trying to render this thing as our point of focus. You're not missing much though with it being out of focus. Not yet, at least. Not till we start getting a little contrast on the colors. Here, could we zoom in on it maybe? And help that focus get aligned? Yeah, there we go. Can we see that now? Yeah, there we go. Now, I did pull these off of their really bad pre-supports in kind of a rush. Ended up with a ton of these little like pitting and scarring bits, and I think what we can do is we can paint those up to look like injuries later in the process. But for now, we just want to establish our green tone. Get in there, establish this green. Quickly, this is speed paint. This is not pretty paint, this is speed paint. This is getting shit done painting. So we're gonna load the brush, unload the brush, keep moving forward, find our spot and start swiping. Top to bottom, swipe it down. I think in the end, the green is more of a statement from it's just all over apparentness, and we'll really render these guys out with their little details, their little cowls and loincloths and stuff. I think is what's really going to make these guys kind of shine. All right, boom, continuamos. Now, same deal, swiping down, swipe down. Get these lads looking green. Well, guys and gals. There are ladies in the bunch here. Now, this is still a very heavy dry brush here. Quite saturated. Okay. Now, we can probably get away with just putting more color into this brush. I think we're mostly unloaded. Let's continue. Yeah. Nice. More ads. Thank you, YouTube. I love ads. Alright, so we're going to stick this intermediate green in our wobbly pink mound. Why is he making noises? Those are A's. He's going for so long. What the fuck, dude? Was that? It's AUYs? Interesting. All right, so same deal with these guys. We got a pretty saturated brush. We're gonna swipe. We're gonna have a little bit more of a blue influence in the green for the larger ones. Here, let me put them side by side. There was some scaling difference in the files, and I think the sculptor just missed that. But I kind of like the natural variation. I really dig the idea that there's some slight differences. in this tribe here. In fact, I probably could have been right in adjusting the size a little bit more, get a little bit, just a touch more variation, like 2 to 5% here and there. These models definitely need some optimization. A lot of the fun additions were not pre-supported, and the pre-supports were really, really big. They left some really fucking gnarly scars. I kind of think I should go complain to the author, or to the sculptor, I should say. Unfortunately, it is a common thread with so many sculptors on my mini factory when they release the pre-supports, that they're so poorly done. Can you Jesus Christ. Can you explain to me how A's and U's say a ski-to-sco? I'm incredulous. Oh my god, ads. Dude, there's so many. So I've missed a fuck ton of chat here too. Evidently, my app broke like fucking 20 messages ago. Country, how goes the stream? Thank you. So why voice type? But yeah, it's bad. It's stressed to hell, and always underwater, but yet we're here. Slink just said, put my current whip on minis on parade. Yeah. Lizzie already looking good, honestly. Yeah, they have a fair amount of detail for it. At Country Fried, you should make them like boils too, kind of infected sickly lizard too, maybe swamp parasite. I was kind of thinking that, like some bleeding boils. Jesus, yeah, exactly. Thank God for mute. Yeah. At Elliot Grimson says, you brought me here with the thumbnail. Oh, I can't believe it worked. We were really kind of beating our heads together last night trying to find a good one. Holy shit. It was supposed to be vowels, but apparently Tony Soprano's vowels are just U's and H's. Yeah. YouTube done broke. See, I don't know what it's doing with the names thing, Mr. Nate. I think we may have hit a point now where people have to organically earn biscuit coins by participating in chat and then gambling once they have a few. So you know. You're new or you're catching this via the algorithm after the fact, that active participation in the chat yields biscuit coins, which you can spend on stuff like redeem Popcat or redeem Anticristo. They're all available on the Cloudbot website in the description.
The number one and the best is the Antichrist. But not God, because the Antichrist, it's me!
It is true, I am the Antichrist. That is the wrong color. Jesus Christ.
These be vowels in my bowels, getting hot in a paper tube used for farting, cream of the crop. Yay.
Farting cream of the crop. Crop cream out your bunghole. Jesus Christ. Thank you for the generous donos, Mr. Comstar. As annoying as they can be at times, that is the sound of money going into my bank account. And Tangia pays out 80%. So all the donos are well appreciated. Unfortunately, I'm not really in a great position to moderate those at the paint disc. Ooh, this is... Oh, fuck. I went a little too heavy on this one. Oh, well. Who cares? These are speed paints. Like, these are going to be scanned into a virtual game, and they're going to be this big on the screen, you know? Nobody's going to be looking up close on these. And then we'll probably sell these on eBay for... What do you guys think a fair price for dry brushed lizard man is? $30? I'll hook them up. I might even auction them, honestly. You try to get on my level. Redeem rip. Yeah, no kidding. What is that? It's like 10 billion to cost that? 10 million? Yeah, 10 million to pay for that. It's the highest cost it let me do. Okay, so our lizards are getting green, and now we need to mix a nice highlight tone, and we're going to come in with a much more delicate touch on these guys. I think the intention here is going to be to maybe do a 50-50 of this tone plus middle stone, and then we can come in and do their bellies with a dry brush of the middle stone. I'll tell you what, I'm actually quite anxious to see how well the middle stone dry brushes. Where did you get the model for the thumbnail?
Money can't buy happiness, but it can buy catnip, fancy scratching posts, and those little tuna treats.
That was a set of models made for...
Every time I open the treat bag, I hear that tiny thunder of paws racing across the hardwood.
Jesus
then comes the most dramatic meow in the universe.
The dramatic meow.
I personally offended his entire bloodline by being 0.3 seconds late with the snack.
It is true. 0.3 seconds.
He stares with
accurate.
those big judgmental eyes until I cave.
Yeah.
So yeah, money doesn't buy happiness, but it definitely buys cat food.
It does definitely buy cat. That's a fucking... That was a good one, Tom Star. Thank you for the dono. The model in the thumbnail is a set of sexy lizard men that somebody did for the Source Movie Maker. I actually tried to import those into Blender and see if I could convert them to STLs, but I couldn't. So we ended up with these models from Colossal Minis, and I really like the approach he did with these. They're like
late night scrolling bank account looking sad, but then I see it. Limited edition cat hoodie with glow in the dark whiskers.
Some hangers on
Money
them too.
leaves my wallet faster than a cat chasing
as
a laser
goofy as they
dot.
are, the
Next
artist
thing
has
I
also
know,
paid
I'm
some
broke,
attention
but my
to the
furball is strutting like a supermodel.
Of the booba.
He hops on the couch, does a dramatic flop, and unleashes the loudest, most entitled meow I've ever heard.
Yeah, is
like,
that true?
Where is my royal fanfare, peasant, worth every penny?
Yeah, no shit. Worth every penny. Auction might be good. Maybe start off minimum 10, see how it goes. Honestly, I don't really care about these making money because these are all for digital assets in the end. I may list them for like a pretty small flat price. My experience with eBay auctions has been really hit or miss. Every now and then they go like for a fair price, but every now and then they go for absurdly low. Honestly, if someone wanted to give me $100 to dunk a dragon in red paint, I'd take the money. Well, you got to consider, like, is it a full-size dragon? Did it cost you like $5 worth of resin to put together, and then you've got $5 of the packing materials plus $10 to ship, so we're already down 20. You lose an hour in assembly and cleanup, so there's another 20, so you're already at 40 before paint hits the model. So like, yeah, as long as you're sticking to that like $20 an hour rule, it's not unreasonable to think that $100 to do a mini would be where it's at. Oh fuck.
At Comstock Knight donated a $49.99 super chat.
Jesus Christ.
Meow. My RAC5 goes BRRERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERERER $1.50.
A classic Comstar. Holy fuck, dude. Thank you so much for the generous dono. I think you just, you literally just paid my internet bill for this coming month. Holy shit. Thank you so much. Big ups to Mr. Comstar throwing that HPG network money at the stream. Holy fuck. All right, so now we're going to switch this little, I don't know, is this what you call a contour brush? And we've got a 50-50 mix of our medium green, our intermediate green, and middle stone. And this is going to be like our kind of desaturated, like yellowy tone. Glad to help. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Thank you so much. This, I say it again and again and again in like the thank you
Rainy
videos
Sunday,
and the
wallet
postings.
feeling light, yet somehow I'm on cat toy websites again. That
Cat toy
motorized
website.
mouse with feathers, instant purchase. Money vanishes like it's allergic to my bank account. Delivery day arrives and my cat inspects the box like it's a crime scene, then attacks the toy with Olympic-level fury.
Oh.
Mid-chase he stops, looks at me, and drops the deepest, most accusatory meow, like, "You spent how much on this when I already own you?" I just
That's
sigh
funny.
and open another can of tuna.
Another can of tuna indeed. That is very funny. Okay. All right, so we're coming back in with a lighter tone, and we're starting to put some targeted hits to our dry brushing, right? So we're gonna do, the shoulders have the cloak over them, so we're not worried about that. We're gonna really get this head lightened up. We're gonna hit the elbows, we're gonna hit the hands. Again here, elbows and hands. We're gonna come in and we're gonna hit knees, and then one quick swipe across the top of the toes, but not more than that, because we don't want to spend a bunch of time on the feet. We're gonna hit the top of the tail and the tip of the tail, and that's gonna get us starting to concentrate our tone in a controlled fashion. So when we come back in with our middle stone, we can make that work. I actually, now that I think about it, we probably need to start working this tone in on the belly as well, so we don't have too huge of a jump in our tonality. So I want the bellies to be quite yellowy. Yellow belly lizard men. That sounds about right. Cool stuff. Yeah, I was thinking of Dragon DRG 1. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Just trying to help. I'll stop now. Dude, you can blast the Tangia shit all you want, my guy. That's what it is there for. I wholly endorse enjoying any misery you may visit upon me doing as a stream here. I think that's part of what this experience is. Because even if I'm trying to get a point across and create impassioned content, it's still performative, right? You're still here, dance monkey dance. There's a little bit of a what do you call it? A humiliation ritual. I mean, to be fair, I was talking about setting up a ping pong cannon to bean me while I paint. That's the good stuff, man. My logic is, if going through the slings and arrows of existence and working towards a goal is suffering anyways, why not monetize your suffering? Why not? Of course, why not? It's a Pokemon, Okay, so we're just working up our tones. Base of the tail, tip of the tail, elbows, hands, heads, buttocks. If they're prominent like this one, I'm gonna hit knees. I'm gonna hit feet. Ooh, I shouldn't have done 2 swipes. 1 swipe across the toes. And then we're gonna hit the belly with a nice circular action. Belly and tits will be much, much more yellow. So we can even kind of overdo it here because we're coming back in with more tones on that anyways. The heck? All right. So, same deal. We're going to load our brush. We're going to unload it in the... So we're dipping from our gathering area. We're dipping into the like medium rough texture, and then we'll do the final unload right here. So we've got a staging zone, medium texture, light/medium texture right here. And then same deal. Coming in and hit that head. Rub all about the head and face. Where are we at? 7-11, we're an hour in. We're not making spectacular time, but we are making time. Let's get up in here and get that belly nice and bright. Hit the knee. One swipe across the feet. Hit that knee. One swipe across the feet. Top of the tail. Tip of the tail. Elbows. Hands. This is not a high quality paint job. This is perfunctory. And you know, I think as many painters, it falls upon us all every now and then to lower our standards to get shit done. Right? Like in the end, do you really care that those jobber lizard men have like fantastic details? I think for most players, these things are going to hit the table once, and they're going to kill these monsters, and then they're never going to see those models again. Right? So, I think in acknowledging that, it's good to give them enough love that they render well. Like, I'm looking at these things at arm's length distance at best. Come on, computer. Bingus, bangus, bongus, chungus. Alright. 2 more of these. And then we're going to do the same for the other guys. The smaller ones. Same deal. Brush is mostly unloaded. We're hitting the head and shoulders. Very heavy coat on the head and shoulders, because those are going to get a little more love. Now this one, we'll see how, can we even get in there to get the belly? Maybe not. This is a little problematic. I need a smaller brush temporarily. Let's get an old ratty one. Not that one. How about you? An old wedge brush. I think we used this brush for texture before. Let's just get some color on it, and we should be able to get this up in there now. Yeah, there we go. One that's got a little bit of a tighter neck on it. Lets us work that color in there. And we can continue. We'll keep it handy because we're going to need it again when we do the next layer of yellow on it. But same deal. Elbows, hands, base of the tail, tip of the tail. Boom. Next model. We really do not give a shit here about individual details. If you make a little mistake, it's part of the artwork. We're going to accept it and move on. We're speed painting. This is speed painting. I am speed. Not on speed. I don't do none of that. Your mom is a medium texture. I do love that the your mom jokes have come back big time in the community. Unironically. Very funny. Nightbot dropping us a Popcat. Thank you, Nightbot. Yes. Popcat is love. Popcat is life. Alright, same deal. We did face, single swipe on the feet, elbows, hands, face. We're going to come in and we're going to really work that tum-tum. Get that looking... Well, we don't really care about the green here. We care about it being light enough to take our middle stone foundation here in a bit. Okay, so we're done with the first set. We got 4 more of these others. We're going to start with our uniform green. Which actually, I have some out right here already. We're going to add to it. And we're going to 50-50 that with our middle stone. That is, what is that? Yellow rock. Amarillo piedra. Piedra. What is piedra? Alright, so you see that our 2 tones are like really, really similar, especially on the camera. They're quite close. There's a nice subtle difference to them though. And I think that's what we're going for. We got our lads kind of... What the fuck was that? I knocked something off. It was a base. It's unimportant. Alright, load brush, unload brush. Let's grab lad with the sword and shield. Work that head. Head and neck. Boom. Elbows, hands. The guy's arm is well under the shield. We could come in and do like the treatment we did to the feet, I think. So, knees, single swipe across the toes. Knee, single swipe across the toes. Base of the tail, tip of the tail. And then that belly. We're going to try to really get in there. Because even though it's in shadow, I do want it to be yellow. And without that foundation of the light green, it's going to be a shock of a jump. Alright, there's one. Next. Ow. Work that head. Boom. Work the head. Work the head. Work the elbows. Hit the fingies. Same here. Swipe the hand. Try to get the knee once across the toes. Knee, toes. This guy's got a lopped off tail, so we'll just work the whole length of that. Now we're going to come in and really get in there. Bam. That's perfect. Next, single dip. Unload. Hopefully we can have these guys done by the green done by the 1.5 hour mark. I am dubious that we'll get them done completely in the 3 hours. I may take a nice post-stream break and continue to work on these while hanging out in the voice chat or something. Don't really know. But either way, we're going to have these done up, and I should maybe do... I can maybe do a photogrammetry stream about these. I think it'd be hard though. I'd need a camera like back here, kind of aiming inward. Stone or rock? Is that in reference to piedra? Yeah, it makes sense. So the Spanish name for it is yellow rock, and the English name is middle stone. So I don't think it's not a one-to-one translation then. Weird naming choice they did there. All right, this guy has that same problem. We need a very tight brush to get in there and get that belly, but we want that yellow there. So we're gonna swap tools, and you can see a nice side-by-side here, right? Like this is much smaller. All right, so those are looking all right. I think we're gonna let that paint cure a little bit. I want to hit these lads one more time with a little bit lighter middle stone. And in fact, I think we're just gonna take the paint that's here and we're gonna mix in middle stone to it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see how much we can pull up into it here from the surrounding area. Basically, I want like I want kind of like a 75-25 mix of middle stone with a little bit of the green. And I think we've got that here. Maybe just a tiny bit. In fact, let's drop some right there. And we'll scoop just a tad bit of that up, just a little bit on the end of the brush, and work that in. I don't want to take it too far. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me.
Ooh, yay, I love ads. Thank you for the ads. Delicious ads.
How? Okay, so we've got our new light tone. It is almost straight middle stone. And we need to be really careful with it. So we're going to unload the brush pretty heavily. We're going to re-hit those areas that we hit before, but in a much more controlled fashion. Just really want to push up what we did before, but the brush is not as saturated because we want some of what we had on there already to work as a shadow. And now, same on the belly. We're still going to go pretty heavy, but we're going to have the brush more unloaded this time. And because we really smushed it in there last time, we're starting to get a little bit of variety between the raised and lower areas. And they'll really be visible at the end. Basically, we want enough detail that our players will be able to see and appreciate that color at a distance, at a glance, rather than on close inspection, right? These are monsters. You don't give a shit about these guys. They hit the table, they get moved around for a few turns, they get removed to never be seen again. And because I'm pulling this, because I'm doing this with the 3D printed models, I'm actually, every monster in the Keep on the Borderland module will be represented with its own individual model. So like, once you kill that model, it's gone. It's the only time it hits the table. Uh-oh, are we dead? Or is it just my phone? I think it's just my phone. I'm gonna relaunch that. I think I saw a buffering thing, but it looks good over there, and it looks good. I see green on the middle monitor. I can't quite tell on them. I maybe should have swapped those two. So just so you know, I got the big monitor over here with the chat, with the stream playing, and then middle monitor is the what do you call it? The OBS, and then right monitor is the control panel. See that?
Give me 10.
You got it. Coming right up, Mr. Slink.
Bye, everyone. She can go on forever.
Thank you for the push-ups, sir. Push-ups. I tell you what, I can really feel that I haven't been doing those as often. Like with any muscle, it atrophies without use. That's especially true of your wiener. It's not true at all. Okay, so once again, we've got our fine brush here, and we got to really get in there on this guy. There we go. It's too good of us. Yeah, no kidding. All right, so next. So this time we're kind of trying to concentrate the dry brushing on these like top angles. So if you can picture the head as like a rectangle, like a cuboid, like a three-dimensional rectangular box, right? We want to start scraping the edges. All right, knees, boom, hit the knees. Feet, single swipe, knee, feet. I did a double swipe, and like the color shift is very noticeable, unfortunately. And then we're really working the belly, really working that belly, because we want to push that towards very visible yellow, yellowish at least, yellow with a green influence. Boom. Heads. Ow. Elbows. Hands. Ow. New dip. Dip. Unload. Knees. Pow. Boom, boom. Swipe the toes. Swipe the toes. Base of the tail. Tip of the tail. Now we're going to come in and hit that belly. Boom. Really work it in there. I want that belly to be kind of the detail that really sells these things. All right, that's 4 out of 7. Let's do the next. The big lady with the big knockers. Let's do head, elbows, hands, knees, single swipe across those toes, new dip. Gonna offload the freshest paint on the tail. We're gonna come back in and we're gonna work the belly and the gazungas. Try to do it without hitting the legs too much or the inside of the arms. I love that she's got like the kind of like the bodybuilder belly. Like it's pudge, but it's also really strong. Really dig that. There's some fucking weird models, that's for sure. All right, same deal. Come in, cross the top of the head. Elbows. Hands. Knees. Single swipe on the foots. Boom. Fucking assembly line work here. Same deal. Tail. Tip. Come back in, hit the belly. The belly and the breasts. Boom. You see, we're starting to get into that yellow look. All right. Same deal. This is the last one of this color, and we can move back to the what was it? Refractive green? Uniform green. Move back to our uniform green after this. Knees, feet. Boom. And then new dip with an unload across top of the tail to the tail, belly. And then of course, whatever doesn't get done tonight, I I will have these done and in to Tabletop Sim before next TTRPG Tuesday. So maybe in 2 weeks' time, regardless of where these end tonight, we'll have these done, and I'll show you guys the like scanned in results at the end. Skip. Boom. TTRPG Tuesday. Refresh. I have to refresh this every time an ad runs, or it just breaks the damn chat. And I can't tell what's going on. Okay, so for here, we still have this color again. So I think we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add our millstone directly into this pile until it's like a mostly millstone look. In fact, that's probably not enough given how much paint is there. So we'll do one more drop. And we're going to bring this in and tip of the back of the brush, stir that till it's going. And I can tell that our paint's starting to get really dry, especially with that fan blowing in my direction. So we want to work this quickly. And then when we go to the middle stone, the solid middle stone, we'll use this blank area up here. Okay, so same deal. Load the brush, unload the brush. Head. Boom, get that head. Get that. This guy's got a prominent like back of the head and neck, so we'll do that. Elbow, hands, elbow, hands, knees, single swipe on the feet. Wow. Blam, blam. Now, this guy's tummy's going to be tough to get to. I maybe should switch to an even smaller brush, honestly. Let's see if we can't get our other brush up in there. Yeah, that's decent. Decent coverage. Boom. Let's scrub that belly. Get it looking middle stone-ish. Sick. Okay. Next, lady with the club. Head, neck, elbow. Can't really get to that elbow, so we'll swipe the fingers. We'll do the knee, and the feet. Boom. Do one more load, unload here. Base of the tail, tip of the tail, tum-tum and tits. Get in there and really make those details start to pop out. And I mean, they look a little kind of flat right now, yeah, because it's just the green. But once we start putting the other tones on, it'll really make more sense. So face, elbow, hand, knee, feet, load, unload brush. We got one more after this. This is the tail and tummy. So this is the same sculpt as the other one, but the male version. Get that belly nice and ready. And then I'm kind of picturing this guy with the sword and shield as maybe like the leader of the group. I'm gonna make him a little more dangerous to the players, I think. I'm honestly thinking I might even give him a magical sword that's like cursed or something, like a +1 short sword, but it's a cursed item. I think that could be really interesting. Okay, so those are all done up. We're gonna continue now. One more pass of basically the same deal that we've done so far, but we're going a straight middle stone now. So this is really getting into the yellow color. So we can see a pretty big difference between these two tones right here. This one and this one. It's got a lot less green influence. So we want to be really, really careful with this tone on some of the model. So really, really want to unload this brush here. And we're getting it down to where we're barely getting any color on a swipe at all. Almost like a dusting. And it is seriously just the same shit that we've done. Just the brush is much more unloaded, so it's gonna have less influence. And then we'll go in with a more loaded brush now. And we're gonna hit that tummy one more time. And then I think we may need to go in on the bellies with a little bit of ochre after this. But you can see we're starting to get that that yellow difference between the really high contrast green to the belly. Alright, so load brush, deeply unload the brush, skip the ad, relaunch chat. God damn, they're feeding so many fucking ads. You know, I've got this set to medium ads. Is the crazy thing here. It gets so much worse. Elbows, hands, elbows, knees, toes, tail, fresh load for the belly. Get in there and really work the belly. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Sick. Next, dip, unload, top of the head, elbows, hands, elbows, hands, knees, single swipe on the toes, cross the tail, and then fresh dip, plus unload. And we'll work that tummy and tits. Very controlled. Getting quite yellow. Sick. Okay. Head, elbows, hands, elbows, knees, single swipe on the toes, tail, tip, load, unload, rinse and repeat. Lots of fucking rank painting or assembly line, whatever you want to call it. Kind of flows like this. I had a system set up for painting my Space Marines years ago that I would get all 10 of a squad ready to go at the same time, and I would do seriously single armor panels at a time. So I would do like the panel over the toes, and I would just go through all 10. Boom, 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 boom. Get them done. Set it down. Hit the next one. And then I'd go back through and do like the greave, and then do that, or like the band around the boot. I think it maybe slowed it down just a little bit, but it had that same kind of feeling when you had to write lines as a punishment in school, and you did like one word at a time and go down the paper. I think the lost time is actually in the picking up and setting down of the models. Head, elbows, hands, elbows, knees, feet, tail, tip. Now this one is another one of those hard to reach. So we're going to swap back to this brush. We're going to grab our middle stone and we're going to unload the brush and get in there. Get in there real good. You can even do like a jabby, almost stipple-like technique here and get that get that color where we want it. You can see the horrible scarring from the really bad supports on these models. Do not recommend their pre-supports if you end up picking these up. I should have tossed them in the chat as to what they are, but they're colossal miniatures if you're interested in painting up this set yourself. I bought the whole bunch, which is like, I think it's 15 poses. And then there's like a tent and a den and like eggs and a campfire and like some extra lizard men roasting bones over a fire, and then a couple lounging ones. It was a good deal. It was like $30 for the whole set. And I think that's kind of my logic on the pricing when I sell this. If this set goes for $30 on eBay, I'll have paid for the models. Any more than that, I'll be compensated for my time. So if you're interested in some lizardmen for your collection and want to show support for the channel, watch out on the eBay store for these fuckers to get posted. All right, Tum Tum gets some deep swiping, and I think we've just about run out of Middlestone, so we'll need one more dollop. And we'll dip and unload. Dip, unload, swipe the heads. Ow. Elbows, hands, hands, elbows, knees. Swipe, and then tail. New dip, new unload. Oh, this is the one with the hard to reach area. So we'll swap our brushes again. Just get in there all jabby like. Boom. Sick. Continue almost. Two more to go. Two more to go, and then I think we'll swap to a yellow ochre with just a focus on the bellies. I really want that yellow to start to pop. I don't know if I have my yellow over here, if it's over at the computer, though. We'll have to check in a moment. All right, last one of these guys. Hands, elbows, hands, tummy, knees, toes, tail. Boom. There we go. These guys are looking decent. It's a little sloppy, but such is the nature of speed painting. We can maybe do deep yellow. I'm definitely thinking more yellow ochre. It's more natural tone. This one is comically yellow, so we're gonna go with the yellow ochre. All right, so we'll put this down right next to the middle stone so you can see the big difference, the big jump from this to that. I think there's a little bit of artificial saturation in this camera, of course. But we'll grab our yellow ochre and we'll really work it in over here. And I think we maybe need to do 2 passes, because as we work here, we're getting more of that green into this color. And though we want influence of that green, we want to minimize it here. We actually want that yellow ochre tone. And see, that's still really, really heavy. We don't want it that heavy. I'm going to really unload this brush. Oh, fuck, I caught some green. That's bad. We maybe need to actually wash the brush now. Shit, fire. Pooping yellow smoke. Wait. What? Why are you pooping yellow smoke? How does that even work? Do I want to know? I think maybe not. We're gonna go with a smaller, I think this is a contour brush, right? I don't know fuck all about makeup. All right, we'll get a fresh dip of this yellow ochre. We'll try to work a spot over here that's not too green, since we've done so much unloading here. We'll get that nice, there we go, a nice powdery kind of look. And we're same deal as before, but we're much more targeted across that belly. Boom, and you see immediately we've pushed that yellow, and we're not going to use this anywhere else on the model. I do not want them to be too much yellow in the skin. It needs to just be the bellies. Unfortunately, we're going to get a little on the thighs just due to the sloppiness of the technique here. But we want it mostly where we're aiming here. Yeah, check that out. Big difference. Right here, same deal. Pow, right across that tummy. Boom. Instant depth. Across this tummy. Pow. Instant depth. I do love a good dry brush every now and then. Now, can we ram this tone up on these hard to reach guys? I think so. We'll have to do a little jabbing action. I think this one we can maybe reach without the smaller brush. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. Same right here. Boom. Across that tummy. And because we want a light dusting of this anyways, we don't have to really keep loading the brush step by step. Plow. Next. This one's a deep jab. So we get in here again. Boom, like that. Boom, like that. Done. This one gets the fatter brush. Now, across that. Across here, same deal. All right, so we are almost 2 hours in, and we're basically done with the green. I do think we could maybe mix in a little bit of our deep yellow here as a final highlight tone on the tummies. But I really don't want to overdo it. Ooh, I love ads. Can I please skip the fucking ad, YouTube? Gross, it was an unskippable. I fucking hate ads so much, dude. Gross. You know, I would never tell you that you could avoid ads by watching in Firefox with uBlock Origin. I would never tell you that. Because as a YouTube partner, it is my job to sell you ads. So, if anything, I would tell you specifically to not use Firefox. Do not use Firefox with uBlock Origin installed, because it'll prevent those ads from being fed to you, even on your mobile device. So I would never ever tell you to avoid ads through using Firefox and uBlock Origin. Never ever would I ever. All right, we're doing one final pass here with the bright yellow boys, bright yellow bellies, belly and tits, him tummy as well. Boom. Right across there. There's just a little bit extra yellow in there. This is going to be extremely subtle, but just a little bit extra. Little bit extra. Pow. Now see this deep yellow color, it tends to have really poor coverage, so even if we spill a little bit out, it's not gonna be too bad. All right, so from here, we actually maybe want regular paint time. So is this still wet? It looks wet, it's shiny. We can swap off of the wet palette now and go back to traditional brush painting. And we need to pick a good brown tone for these boys. Make sure to fucking wallop the camera as we stand up. That's very important. I think beige brown is a good candidate. We've also got tan earth. I think it's beige brown. Yeah, I think we're going beige brown, and we're gonna get a, what is this, a 20-0? That may be, yeah, we can work with that. We're coming with our beige brown. Get that beige brown. Let's see, that's about 4 or 5 drops there. We'll grab our clean water. Drop 2 drops of water in it. I think will put us at the right spot. Mix that in. And we'll start with this kind of desaturated unimpressive brown tone. And I think the intention here is we'll boost this tone with we'll hit it with some shadow color and get it down. But what we want to do is just come in here and base our all our brown stuff. Did I get this corrected again? Yeah. And we're using our 20-0 liner here. This one's a little frayed, but it's still a small brush, which will help us keep it kind of on target where we want it to go. Big fat gambles there. Where are we sitting at? 8 o'clock? Not too bad. Not too bad. Definitely always way more work than expected. But what I'll do is I'll pepper these in during the workflow this week, and we'll get these done and not waste a ton of time on these after today, at least not publicly facing on the channel. Thinking I may stream tomorrow for painting. Don't really know what we're doing though. I may very well get pre-set up to do some Cretan mechs tomorrow. I've got a set that needs to go out, and I think I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna send Sorta Light to the client. It is my for a blind box. It needs to go out very soon. Could also stream the Hell's Horses. If any of y'all have a preference, let me know. Maybe it is the Hell's Horses, actually. If it's frayed, you should stop scaring it. Yeah. Well, I don't know, Mr. Nate. I think there's something to, like, you could frighten the, you could frighten that frayed brush into submission and help it help it along the path to be able to handle fear. You know, desensitize it, if you will, to the musings and ramblings of frightening things, or something like that. I don't fucking know. All right, so just doing a nice all over Bayesianing. I guess where this would be different is if we had gone for the zenithal, we'd be doing all this with, you know, speed paint tones, one coat and done. Here instead, we're gonna do base coat ink wash, maybe a highlight. I don't think it's super necessary, but we got 10 more of these to do, so let's continue on this as it is. This guy's got like very tattered butt cloth here. I do find it really interesting that the lizardmen here would take any effort to cover their sex. I have to wonder, like, what where along does the covering of genitals actually show up? Is it a warmth thing? Is it a protection thing? Is it a shame thing? Is it like a social meaning? I suppose it's dependent on the culture. Maybe the lizard people need it for warmth since they are hairless. I need to keep their genitals at optimal temperature. Who knows? Either way, I just find these sculpts to be really interesting. They're different. Quite different. Dry brush me, senpai own. Can't wait to see the booby lizard ladies. They're right here. Hold on. These ones. This is maybe my favorite sculpt. She's so large. They do have Dabuba. They do indeed have Dabuba. I wonder what how they'd come out if you actually like put effort into painting these sculpts. They are quite funky. Quite funky sculpts indeed. Just weird enough for an adventure though. For a Country Fried Minis TTRPG adventure? Yeah, hell yeah. Alright, booba ladies. I kind of imagine that these guys are like maybe like a magically cursed tribe. This is Greyhawk after all. So these are fun with their like kind of caveman-esque sculpts. just with weird lizard heads. There we go. 125 billion. Jesus. She must have gone to Dr. Chick-like best boob surgeon in the swamp. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'm kind of imagining this sculptor here has done like these lizard men were like a fucking experiment in like soft body sculpting, and then it turned into a experiment in trying to get boob physics right. I gotta hand it to him. The here, which ones? I should have 3 females here. Did I fuck up and only paint? Did it only print 3? Oh no, here we go. There's 2. There's a 3rd one. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to print out another fucking female, aren't I? Nope, there we go. 3 females in the group, and there is some fun stuff going on with the directionality, like with this sculpt here and this one. She's definitely my favorite with the fucking the big ass bodybuilder gut is fucking awesome. $10 billion. Wait, you're up 10 billion overall? Is that what I'm to understand, Mr. Slink? All right. It's tattered skirt. I have spilled out of the lines really bad here, and I really do not give a shit. These are jobbers. Up 10 billion from when I started tonight. Okay, yeah. Kind of like to go back and paint these things, this sculpt in particularly, a little bit of a try-hardness. You know, I suppose I also could digitally paint these models, but that wouldn't be a mini painting channel, would it? Not really. We want to physically paint the models and talk about the act of engaging the acrylics on the surface. And it's fun. I'm also sitting here wondering if these would be worth doing enamels on at the end. Would it work, you think, to like give them the whole grimdark treatment? Run them down with the I guess it'd be winter streaking grime, since it's very green, or even just like an oil wash on them. Damn, HGH is a plague? What is HGH? I don't know what you're talking about. Did you get fed an ad for something? Lurk mode, yes. Lurking. Yes, lurking. Ooh, I have hard fucked up on this one. See if I can't correct that bad spill right there. We're gonna eat the paint off the surface. Delicious, delicious acrylics. It's a very tight little corridor there for this frayed old brush. Got brown all over the thighs. Too much on the belly. Let's scrub that free. Eat the paint. Delicious, delicious paint. I just got an ad for facials in my area. What are we looking at? 8 o'clock. Where can we get to in about an hour-ish? Can we even finish getting the brown on these boys? I think so. After all, every stroke puts us closer to a clean finish. Paint is starting to dry out, so we're going to put a little bit of water in there. All right. Lizard cows. Here we go. He's crashing out again. Nice beige brown action. Sitting here thinking, what is our what our other brown is going to be? Thinking like a deeper, richer, darker brown for the weapons. Now we could probably get away with using that color on the clubs and the spear handles, and probably the shields as well. That would be good. All right. Still, I'm trying to keep it in frame. But I gotta admit, y'all, I am kind of just mindlessly focusing on the task and not super worried about keeping it in frame. Alright, we're almost halfway. Almost halfway here. Let's see what we can't pick up the pep. Tighten that brush control and move a little bit faster. I'm already panicking a little bit about the clock. I genuinely thought we could be done with these in 3 hours, start to finish, but they're probably going to be more of like a 5-hour job, honestly, especially considering the bases. Might revisit these, I don't know, Thursday, maybe Friday, before the Dick stream. since it's somewhat related to tabletop. I'll tell you though, even though this is a like speed paint job here, it is super refreshing to dive in on something that's not BattleTech. Don't get me wrong, I love the mechs. Holy shit, 3 ads? Are they really going to feed me a triple unskippable? Gross. Thank you, YouTube. I love ads. They're my favorite. They sure make me want to rush out and buy the products in the ads. You know, I hear there's ways to avoid those ads. You know, like maybe Firefox browsers with uBlock Origin Lite installed beats the ads where you don't have to see them. I hear this may actually be a thing. Of course, I would never recommend that while being on the YouTube platform. Of course, that said, for every ad you do suffer through here, I get a little bit of money. Just a little bit. Not much, but it is a non-zero amount. But honestly, it might as well be a zero amount. Alright, so continue on those. We are painting beige brown, solid coats, hitting those, I guess they're cowls and cloths. And I think from here we'll do like I can't remember the tone, like a saddle brown, maybe saddle brown, or like a leather type tone, and hit those weapons. And then maybe we'll just do straight ivory on these bones, on the teeth and the skulls. And then when we hit the whole thing, when we go back and hit the whole thing with our Agrex Earthshade, we can brown tint everything that needs it in one go, and just use the whole liquid talent trick over flat base tones. And I may or may not do a single highlight pass. I really don't want to spend too much time on it. I mean, even it. Crafty K4162 says, "Deep lore this man speaks. I wouldn't know since I pay for premium." That's fair. Okay. I have a deep-seated hatred for ads. I genuinely believe that ads are the current advertising economy is I believe it's a violation of your rights as a free-thinking individual, that there's a huge industry set up to call upon you to consume products you don't need and to influence your decision making on a subconscious level without your consent. I think it's atrocious. So I rail against it. And the premium thing has evolved such that they're very aware of how atrocious the ad is. And the new scam is to basically bully you into giving them money for them to stop bullying you with ads. Of course, I use the app here when I'm streaming. I've got my little, let's see if we can we do this? So I've got this is my old BlackBerry phone, and it lives up here on the wall as a monitor for my chat. But it breaks. Every time it runs an ad, it breaks. I have to exit out and come back in and then skip the ad and set it back to all messages, or I start missing chat. Let's get this set back up down here. But that said, thank you, Crafty K, for your sacrifice in the premium, because I do make a few cents off of any watch from premium users just immediately. I believe they pay about the same amount as if someone would have watched the entirety of an ad, which isn't much, but it all adds up. And as a AdSense partner, they pay out if you hit 100 bones. So it all adds up here and there, and occasionally YouTube sends me a little money to help pay for supplies like resin and paint and stuff to keep this place rolling. I even occasionally invest it improving the watch quality for the viewer. This camera up here was bought and paid for by the community, and I guess technically our new Solo 8 here was also paid for by the community. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so we got 3 more after this guy, and I think, let's see, we're 20 after 8. I like to think that we'll get at least 1 more color done by the end of the stream. I really want to stay in the habit of keeping these at the 3-hour mark. And honestly, we didn't lose too much time in the beginning. I had to hop up a few times, but it wasn't super bad. It was not so bad at all. Shit, usually it's like, what, a half hour here before we even get paint on mini? We beat that by like 15 minutes today. All right. Just about there on this one. Just need a solid bass tone. If we're a little sloppy with it, that's fine. We're going to go back in, and all the definition is going to come from the wash work later. We'll maybe do a wash, and I start to say we'll do dry brushing, but we'll probably just do some quick brush swipes to build up the beige brown. Skip the ad. Yes, I love ads. They're so fun. Everything look okay over there? Looks like we're still in the green. All right, so continuamos. We got 3 more of these to pass, and then we can do our deep brown. We want to do a deep brown, and then we want to do a ivory pass, and we can start laying out the Agrax Earthshade, and that is probably where we'll get to on the stream. That's fun. That would be kind of the bare minimum, I think, for tabletop play. What, 3 colors? Shit, you could really get away with, probably get away with less dry brushing work on these guys. Just like single color and then a wash even. And that would be more than perfunctory for your D&D session. And I think that's the takeaway lesson here. Yes, you can have pretty models. And yes, it would be super, super cool if your models were super, super detailed for maximal enjoyment of your players. But I think if your crew showed up to play and you had even painted just to this standard here, without any of the washing and stuff, just solid color, you got the greens and the browns, I think your party would recognize them for what they are and be glad for the experience of some jobbers for their models to beat up. And I dare say, if you're putting together a game with physical minis, if you were to paint up a whole bunch of monsters, whether we're talking skeletons, rats, lizardmen, whatever you're working on, and you were to post them in your friend group and show those off, you might even inspire your players to pick up their own character minis and put paint to them. And honestly, I think that's where the magic really shines for mini painting. Building a character, a color tale for your character from whatever mini you picked up, plus a single model. Single models have that whole invitation to do a little more, to take a little more time than you would on like a generic Space Marine or Guardsman or Empire troop. I recall having a lot of fun back in the day with painted minis for a 4th edition campaign. I played as a kobold rogue that used a spiked shield as the weapon and ended up finding, I think they were Ralpartha. They were either Ralpartha or Reaper kobolds. And I found a nice little kobold with a shield and painstakingly removed the weapon from his offhand, bending the pewter into position, and applying a spike from some Warhammer kit, and taking like 6.5 hours to paint this little kobold model that was like just over 1/4 inch tall. It was so little. It was really fun, really good time. We had a Warforged in that party. We had a guy who was a Minotaur of, I can't remember the like berserk god, Bane maybe. We had a human rogue who was actually a vampire the whole time. It's really neat little mini campaign, and everybody got together and painted their models. And I dare say that was brought on by the fact that our dungeon master had all these painted minis for us to go up against. It was a good time. Close, open, skip.
Oh my god, the fucking ads, dude.
This is on Medium. This is on fucking Medium ads. Good lord. Honestly, I'd turn them completely off, but if you don't have the ads on, YouTube suppresses your content. And it's already bad enough in this attention-seeking economy. Chow. Boom. Almost there, though, with these guys. Move on to something. Something a little different. Although that something a little different will be more brown. Yes. All the brown. My paint is starting to thicken up. I would hate to have to put another drop of water in it for one more model, but we may have to. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to, actually. Clean water, single drop. Just nip that in the bud right meow, because this paint is really starting to thin out. I think part of it is I got my box fan over there pointed directly at me. Well, I didn't know ads were that bad. I basically just showed up and you had 3 ad breaks. That's medium. Yeah, it's gotten worse. It's gotten a lot worse. I genuinely think that YouTube may... I don't really think it's necessarily an ad economy. I think the ads are so that they will push you into
Prof.
buying.
GK subscribe to the channel.
Whoa, thank you for the sub. Hell yeah. Number go up makes me feel really good. Yeah, we do all kinds of shenaniganry around here. Mostly painting Battletech, of course, but we do occasionally work on other stuff. Tabletop Tuesday will be every other Tuesday at this point, and then we've got, like, we're working on the Big Black Knight video right now. This guy. This guy right here. Big old chungus. That video should come out one of these days. We're already 2 months behind. Production is generally pretty slow here, though. I'm really bad about actually putting the time in and really getting in some deep editing sessions. We do all kinds of stuff, though, and there's a small but thriving community over on the Discord. Link in the description down below. All kinds of weird stuff coming up. Alright, so from here, I think we'll let the we'll switch to the other brown first. Oh, there's some weird... Some of these shields have a wood band, and some have metal band. We'll do the different brown first and let this beige brown cure. And then we'll come back in with the ivory, and hopefully, because we got a half hour left, hopefully we can get to the Agrex Earthshade bit by the end of it. Though it might be a tall order at this point. We shall see. I will try to step up the brushwork speed. Is this... I'm finding it hard to tell what is lizard skin and what is tattered loincloth here. This is loincloth. Pa-chow. Buddy. Why don't you use a wet palette? I usually do. I have it under the desk here. I just don't care so much on this set. In fact, this is still covered in the colors from my my freehand job. I think it usually depends on the project. So, like in this case, these are a bunch of jobbers. I really don't. This is all very low effort paint jobs. But like, say I'm working on like a pinup or like some kind of display piece. I'm gonna bust out a wet palette so my colors stay really thin and applicable. Edna may have been pre wet palette. She's really dusty. Holy shit. Gross. These things, I actually picked these up for enamels and products like my Dirty Down. Okay, what brown do we want here? What is the brown? Did that freeze? Okay, no. Get fire. All these cameras. We want a nice deep brown. We could maybe do saddle brown. I want more of like a chocolatey tone. Honestly, we could do flat earth. We could do flat brown. That actually, I think that's our color. Go flat brown. Do you have another one of these handy? Don't think I do. There we go. Another one of these. Whoa, that is a gnarly paint booger on the end of that. If anything, that is maybe indicative of this paint needing a good shake. Let's give Oni Lab some love. Give Oni Lab a little bit of love. Oh yeah. Okay, so we've got maybe a little bit of brown on all the models. So we'll do about 4 drops here. Do 4 drops of paint to 2 drops of water maybe. Blink, blink, that was 3. That's fine, that'll be A-okay. Be a little thin, but I think the pigment density here is probably fine. Just start going in with brown. It's a little thin. It might be a little too runny. We'll just need to be careful in our application. We're just going to do quick saturation in this tone. And then hopefully my ivory's over here. I've got a sneaking suspicion my ivory is sitting over there at the paint desk, at the computer desk. Which is unfortunate. Yeah. We won't need it for a month, though. I think everybody's going to have a little bit of this brown somewhere. The club boys just have the clubs, so that'll be nice and easy. In fact, let's go ahead and get those out of the way. Just hit all these clubs. Now, I have made this pretty thin, so the danger here is going to be splodging it up on the hands. But you know, if we get a little bit there, who cares? I mean, really. Again, the whole idea is that these are jobbers. As long as the party takes, like, the intended path, and of course an adventuring party rarely does so, but if the party takes the intended path, this is probably the first encounter. You know, they're going to go in, they're going to fight these guys, they'll all be dead, and then they'll never see the models again. So, if we've gone outside the lines a little bit, is it really that big of a deal? I don't think so. I do not think so, not even a little bit. We're not trying to win any awards here. We're just trying to get paint on minis. And I've mentioned it before, but I've got a buddy who paints, I mean, probably 600 to 700 models a year. He plays all the games. Very much an enthusiast about different tabletop games, and will collect and paint armies. Whether we're talking skirmish scale or full games, he's at the FLGS doing all the things. And kind of shared with me this concept of, do you want good or done in your minis? And I get you can have both, but in general, if you accept a bit of a lower standard in your own work, you can get them all done. And I find that though gorgeous models are awesome, more often than not, when painting my own models to a high standard, I'll end up with like the sergeant, and like a couple models are painted, and then like 3 or 4 of them are half done, and then I'm there at the game day anyways, playing with half gray armies. Whereas just getting them done, making them good enough, gets them done, and you show up and those like fully painted mid quality models look so much better than an unfinished army with star pieces in it. Just having paint on minis. Plus, I can speak to the value of reps. Putting in the reps on your models. Based on one of our community members who paints a ton of models. Kind of started at a very baseline level of skill and has started painting models at a rate of like 400 per year. And over the course of this last year has gone from very middling to extremely high level work. It's exceptional to see. I guess what I'm getting at is paint more minis. Paint more minis. Paint some shitty minis. Next time you're at the FLGS, buy you one of those Chronoscope bones models. Take that thing home, slap some paint on it, throw it in the trash. You know, who cares? Just get it done. And your painting talents will appreciate the reps. And I think it goes for anybody, even like skilled skilled painters, beginners, whatever. Just getting more done in general will increase the overall quality of all of your work. Now, it just hit me here that this guy has these shields have these bands underneath. And I think we're gonna need to distinguish those with some other tone. Some maybe third leather color. We might go back to beige brown, but I forgot about them when working that last color. We can maybe do the saddle brown on those actually. For now, we're doing dark brown wood. Unnatural tones. Let's see. Pow, pachow. Getting there though. 8:42. 18 minutes left. Do we go to the timer? Or do we go to the task? That is the real question. I'm leaning towards going to the timer. One, out of habit. Two, I still want to hit the store before they close and get something for dinner. Maybe some box mac. Some box mac and bubble water. What about some fried tofu and instant noodles? Taters and onions, maybe? Kidney beans and rice? Sounds pretty good. My problem is I enjoy painting more than I enjoy the game. I'll spend hours and hundreds of dollars painting a Warhammer army just to sit on a display in my room. That is extremely valid, Crafty. So since starting this YouTube project here, I find that I paint a lot of BattleTech. I probably finish and paint lances for the game at a rate of 10 to 1 to actually play in a game. Oh, go down and get a can of Roadtail for that, Mac? Yeah, that fucking sounds awesome. You ain't wrong, Carlock. Beans and onions. You know, I'm sitting here thinking, Crafty, there's nothing wrong with the painting for the pleasure of painting. And honestly, if you really don't play much of the game, I almost recommend, unless you're really attached to the models, of course. If you want to keep them for your collection, of course, that's nothing wrong with that. I thoroughly recommend trying out unloading some of your models. Commercialize them. You know, paint them for your collection and portfolio, and then sell them to somebody who really needs painted models. Even if you don't do so with your own personal collections. I'm actually have become a huge proponent of making painted models available. There are folks who just do not engage with the hobby end, and who are never going to engage with the hobby end, whether it's a time constraint or like a skill constraint or just lack of desire to do so. And I think that it almost falls upon some of us as painters to fill that fill that role. Get your art out there. Of course, I mean, I'm a commercial painter, so it's easy to say that, but you can totally sell your models and keep them both through photogrammetry as well.
Phantom Harlock says, I'm having the Dinty beast stew and egg noodle. Easy.
Oh, egg noodles. I haven't had egg noodles in years. You know, my grandpa used to make that a regular side dish with dinner. It's like a couple times a month we'd have the wide egg noodles, and he'd cook them down till they're al dente, and he'd toss them in a hot skillet with butter and salt and pepper, and just plate it up as a side dish. They were always really, really nice to have. Nightbot was popcatting. I want a popcat. I want a popcat. I'm gonna popcat. Exclamation point redeem space popcat. Yes, pop, 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 pop. I love popcat. It brings me joy. Ooh. Oh man. It's just B. It's just B on our end. I should do an exclamation point B's. I use the Nightbot I use the Nightbot count command. Yeah, I should probably do B's. In fact, I think I will, Harlock. I'm gonna get I'll get Nightbot to include the B's. I'll just steal the idea straight from y'all and have the same output. Wait, is Nightbot not listening? Maybe it's on some kind of weird cooldown because the timer. Here, does cat work? Is the bot just broken? That's unfortunate, if it is. I see that it's in the chat doing its timer thing. Strange. Strange indeed. What the hell was I talking about? Yes, Nathan's Paper Tubes. Choose Nathan's for the best in farting resonance. You will find that 40 years of handcrafted goodness yields the best results. Yeah, so the gamble's working, but that's a different bot. Here, let me log into I'll try logging in. Let's do nightbot.tv. I bet it wants me to log back in. Add to chat. Log in through YouTube. I wonder if I just log in, if it'll remember that I exist. Sometimes the bots do that. Yeah, it's like asking for access again. Yeah, weird. It is saying... Okay, so the website has B and cat logged in here. Oh, I see top chatters in here as well. You're on that list. You're on that list, Mr. Harlock. Let's try again now that I've logged back in. B! Give me the B's. Please, Nightbot. There it is. Yeah, there's like a math function in the there's a math function in the in Nightbot that allows to track that. Yeah, there it goes. 232 cats. How about that? Well, I guess it has meowed that many times. What was the other one you were doing the other day that didn't work? Bat Country. Did Bat Country have a, did it have a random number thing? Was it like such and such number of bats is attacking chat? Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Dude, I really need to set up a ticker to play like every 20 minutes to show all the commands. There's so many that I've forgotten. Megan Dungeon this Friday. What is Megan Dungeon? Is that like some crazy lady chases you with a knife? Yeah, I'm there. I'm there, sir. I'm planning on being there. In fact, what I'll do, I think, is we can do a redirect. I can maybe set up a paint stream on Friday at 3 p.m. ish, and then go into yours. That's Dix in the Dark, by the way, at DIX in the Dark. Here on YouTube, be playing a little bit of D&D this Friday with those fellers. A little bit of BECMI. Is it BECMI or is it just BX? I think it's just BX, isn't it? It's Mega Dungeon, but all the Minotaurs are Mega Plus. Oh yeah, yeah. We should be able to set up a redirect. If you wanna get your event made, like sometime Thursday, I can coordinate with you. Harlock. We could do that. Heck, if we get one person to come over from chat, I think it'd be worth it. Where are we sitting at for time? Fucking 8:53. Shit, we've run out of time. Too many distractions. ADHD powers engage. I think we made good progress though. Don't really know what we'll do on these. Actually, it just hit me. We'll bring these guys up and we'll finish our Dungeons and Dragons paint up Friday, and we'll cut over into the Mega Dungeon right afterwards. And that way we'll get these done. I got some mechs that need to be painted up this week. I owe some stuff to my client for Fiverr, and then I've got some stuff that also needs to be done for a community member that I really need to get on. So we'll probably be painting mechs tomorrow. We'll do the same thing, 6 p.m. PST. If you want to get out your brushes and hobby stuff and hobby along and come in here and talk shit, would love to see what you're getting into. Love to hear it. I think Thursday we will be back with some more editing. We'll do the next round of editing for the Big Black Knight video. Just all kinds of stuff happening here. Yeah, that would be great since it's the same game. And I think what we're doing, whenever we get around to this, oh my god, unskippable ads, holy shit. Whenever we get around to actually playing this game later in the year, we're gonna do the roll for stats thing. So I'll have all the players just come in knowing kind of who they are, the name, the race, maybe what class they are. I guess class and race would be kind of the same thing in BX. But you won't know any of your stats until you use the requisite skill. At which point you'll you'll roll 3d6 and generate it. No takesies backsies. Though I may, since it is Tabletop Tuesday, we could probably do a redeem reroll. We could probably do a redeem reroll on it. And of course, if anybody wants to super chat during that, that is the spirit of the game. Holy shit. It just hit me how busted the experience would get in Mega Dungeon if you could pay $2 to win. $2, the only real limitation to the super chat is you can't directly kill party members. It's up to the individual dungeon master to interpret it. Okay, well, here's where we're at, y'all. There's a 0% chance that I can paint all of these little bird heads in 3 minutes. So let's recap where we're at for these models. So in 3 hours, we have primed these. We have dry brushed them up to a nice serviceable green. We've got the bellies all nice and yellow. We have base coats on the cowls and loincloths and weapons. So where we're at on these is we need tongues done. We need tongues. We need bones. We got to go back in with an ink wash. We got to paint nipples. Did the males have nipples? They don't have modeled nipples, but I think I'm going to go in and maybe add them if they have enough area exposed. I'm going to steal Harlock's idea and give them blue nipples. And then we've got the bases. So I think we can finish these in another 3 hours. And honestly, if we paint 11 lizard men in 6 hours, I think that still counts as speed paint. Now, really, you could take these guys and just do the bases, maybe the skulls. Honestly, these are, I dare say they're even fine as they are now for a game event with your buddies. So we've explored a little bit of speed painting. We didn't get too far into it. We did a little commiserating about bad numbers on YouTube. Yeah, bloviated for 3 hours. Tabletop Tuesday is back. We'll be back here in 2 weeks on more. We'll be working on the next set, which is, I think, the bandit camp. It's a similar number of human bandits, so we'll do those. Keep an eye out as we charge towards actually playing Keep on the Borderland. We'll get there this fall, and we'll get a crew together and play through this lovely module with fully painted assets. That's what I'm really looking forward to, is having all these shitty speed painted models ready to go in digital format for everybody to try out. Those are better than good for D&D. Yeah, exactly. They're better than the pre-paints, you know? And they're going to get a little better. We'll get some depth into the cloth, and the bases will be painted as well. So, digressing. Lots of love. Thank y'all for coming out and checking it out. I know I've complained a lot about numbers and viewership here on Country Fried Minis. But, you know, honestly, I've kind of accepted that we are in an attention-seeking economy here on YouTube. And if you're not putting out outrage content or rage bait, you're probably not getting the clicks. And you know, that's fine. We're doing this for y'all. If you're here seeing this, whether you're here live or you're here via the algorithm, this is for you and no one else. If you want to show financial support or subscribe or whatever, that's fine. I don't really care at this point. I don't think that's a fair way of wording it, but we're going to do this thing. We're going to paint these models. We're going to have fun. We're going to get stuff out. And if you come through and chat with us, we got a fun little community on the Discord. Other than that, fucking paint some minis, man. Have a good time. I try to watch When Not Dead. Yeah, dude, it's appreciated. Anyhow, lots of love to you all. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, with something else. I think we're painting mechs. I'm pretty sure we're going to do some more... oh, I sent those other ones out. We're going to do some more mechs. Some Hell's Horses, I think. We're going to be working on some more Hell's Horses. Camo mechs. So this should be fun. Highlighting up some Cavalry Brown and some black stripes on them. Maybe getting them ready for an oil wash. Not really sure yet. I'll put together a thumbnail tonight after we do the show. So in that regard, yeah, have a good one. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Make sure to remember to be happy while you're painting. And come on back through if you want to talk some shit. That's where we're at. Anyhow, goodbye. Also remember that Nathan's paper tubes are the best for farting into. Choose Nathan's for unparalleled resonance.
Yeah. Would you do a workout?
I do.
Give me tips.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. She can go on forever.